Hello, welcome to Bars and Bells. My name is Lauren.
And I'm Ian.
And this is our summertime workout, week number 3. We've been practicing our presses with these kettlebells and we've been working on our hip mobility. We'll get started with a light body weight warm up, then get a warm up with our bottoms up bells, some squatting actions, some get ups, and then into our full presses today. Stay tuned. We have those bells off to the side. Let's get started with our body weight first.
Bells plural, as we do have a light and a heavy bell today, and invite you to grab the same, start light, and let's get heavy as we progress through the practice. We'll be squatting just a little bit today and then working on hips. So let's get those knees over toes right away. In a neutral or parallel stance, knees over toes, and then use your glutes and push those hips back over top. Repeat again, feel that pull effort down, heavy on the whole foot, root those feet in squats and presses, and push your hips all the way back through to tall. Get as low as you can on flat feet, and after 3 repetitions, lift the heels safely as high as they can go, and then with control, return the heels to the floor. Repeat again, staying the same height, safely burn those quads, or at least safely turn them on. And for the one more time,
safety first.
Stay up on those balls of toes as we then extend ourselves back up to tall. Slowly return, feet to the floor. I like to look at my stance a little bit narrower. Feel free, to make any considerations to your own stance. Then let's go knees over toes with flat feet. Then the heels can lift to help us get lower. Then get knees to the floor with our hips extending through. Right here, we'll get onto the hands, fingers, calluses, full hands. And at the head neck first, extension, meaning look forward, and flexion, look back towards the hands. Repeat one more time, extension, looking forward, and then flexion, looking between hands. Just make a quick change of those hands now to face laterally or right and left. And before we move the hands again, let's do our lateral head bend. Ear towards shoulder. Same thing, other side. As we move the neck this way, make sure we actually don't move the neck. Instead, the head moves upon the neck. It's one more time for me to that lateral side. And then I'll just continue one more quarter turn with those hands. So now my fingertips face the knees. And now a little rotation. Looking over my right shoulder, I see lovely Lauren. And looking to my left, I see that bar where we'll use for our hip mobility drills coming up. Repeating one more time, move the head. The neck doesn't move very much at all. And one more time through the middle, and then peel those fingers away and a little bit of a shake. Now let's go back to those hands in the original position, that wrist extension, and start discussions and explorations with the shoulder blades. So Lauren's in that all fours shape already. So with hands gripping, you could lift the knees like I am here for a little bit more core activation and start with shoulder blades that retract together, and then elevate or shrug, and then wrap around the rib cage, pushing in the floor, and pull down to the hips. Repeat that direction one more, which is a retraction and elevation, protraction or push into the floor, and then pull down to the hips. Reset knees down to the floor if you did hover them, and then let's switch our circle for 2 in a row. So my knees can lift, I start retraction, and now I'll pull down to my hips, then I'll protract, push in the floor, elevate, shrug, retract, pull down to hips, protract one more, elevate one more, retract one more, and then push the floor away. I'll have one more shoulder move coming up. Maybe let's get over to Lauren and warm up those lunges.
All right. As promised, we have some get-ups coming up in today's practice. So let's warm up those kneeling lunges. We have one leg in front, one leg behind. I want that back toe tucked right away. Let's check in with our bowl of punch and lightly hike that hip up and then pull it down. And then we'll spill the punch forward in an anterior tip, and then we'll tuck the hips under in that post tuck. And then I want you to come somewhere in between. So we have a level punch in all 4 directions. We're squeezing our back butt cheek and pulling our front leg in. And just by using that isometric tension, pulling in and pushing forward, we should feel some work through the front of that hip. Let's stay here, which means keep the hip extended, but change the forces. Now pushing forward and back, so much so you could almost lift the back knee up off the floor. So let's have the knee almost off the floor, almost, and then actual lift off, hold. Keep the back hip extended, 3, 2, soft landing. Let's repeat, push the floor forward and back, almost off the back knee for 3, 2, actually lift. Continue pushing the floor forward and back to come up. Make sure the front shin stays vertical, and then pull yourself down into that soft landing relax, and we'll switch legs. Other leg in front, back toe tucked. We hiked the hip, pulled it down. Tipped the punch forward, spilling, and then scooped under with the pelvis. And then we found somewhere in between where our back hip is extended, front leg pulled in. Right now, we pull the floor together without moving, and then we change the forces and push forward and back, but keep the hip extended. Without changing, let's almost get all of our weight off our back knee. Almost, actually hold. 3, 2, land. Push forward again and back again. Push forward and back, push forward and back. Actual lift off. Keep pressing up to tall. And then again, control the pull down, front shin vertical, cage on top of hips. Give that a little shake and wiggle. And we'll come to those get-ups after we warm up our shoulders.
Last move from our lunge. So switch those legs and set up yourself in that lunging stance again. And then with an arm coordinated with the leg out the back, extended or straight at the hip. Shrug, but in our kettlebell class, we like to wear those shoulder blades low and retracted. And now take a straight arm towards your overhead. If this overhead movement presents as a challenge, perhaps pressing kettlebells overhead isn't quite for you today, let's work on these mobility exercises first. Like Lauren just did right there, we'll turn in on the shoulder and the hand reaches towards behind us, staying square with the chest and hips. Hand returns to the side. Retract the blade and then extend the shoulder, meaning hand back, and turn from the ball and socket of the shoulder through the elbow to the hand, all the way overhead, and return the arm back down. Very quickly, that's just a nice check-in to see how your shoulders are performing today. And over the time of repetitions and practice, we can continue to refine that overhead groove. Lauren's shoulder blade is depressed, meaning down and retracted, and the arm is reaching towards that overhead position. Once it's overhead, we'll turn in, humerus rotating in on that shoulder as we then reach towards back. At the bottom of this position, the pinky is trending towards forward, the palm facing out. Retract the shoulder blade, extend through the shoulder, reaching back. Then it's a turn in that shoulder socket, pull the armpits or those lats down to get the arm back towards overhead, and a straight arm returns back to the hip. We'll stand up from here, just get a little casual hinge. If we chip chop on the hips, place the hands to the floor, do our tailbone like a cow shape, and just walk yourself back towards a hinging, deadlift swinging shape, extend through, and I'm gonna grab a light kettlebell and wait for Lauren to tell us what to do with it.
All right, let's first warm up that bell in our goblet position, and then we'll get into some bottoms up here. So we're over top of our bell. We'll use our hinge to pick it up, and we'll end up in that goblet hold. So hip hinge, pull grip, hold that bell. Let's hold here for a couple seconds. Right now we're pulling the bell apart, keeping the cage down, keeping the butt cheek squeezed, like we're in a standing plank. Now let's pull ourselves down into our squat position. We're just above comfortable here. If we were any lower in our squat, we'd be hanging out, but we're working a little bit. Now let's take an elbow and try to gently pry open that femur and bring it back. And the other side, open up that femur, keep the toes heavy on the floor and back. One more time each side, opening and opening. Return to center. Inhale to brace abs. Push the floor away as you stand up, and then place that bell back down. We'll use our bottoms up here to warm up that grip strength, as well as some more core. In that bottoms up, we'll stand just behind our bell with our bell parallel to our feet. We'll use our hinge, grip close to the corner, push some weight down first, packing the shoulder, stacking the wrist and elbow. Sit back, swing through, upside down, other hands ready. Let's start just by holding. Okay, I guess we're pressing. So if you're ready, let's think about pressing that kettlebell towards overhead, maintaining that bottoms up shape nice and safely, and then pulling it controlled back to the rack, keeping it tight to the body, through and park. If you aren't ready for that press right away, you could hold it in that quarter press position. You could think about marching on the spot or even performing one squat with it there. Let's repeat on the other side. Hip hinge, grip close to the corner, swing through, upside down. When you're ready, butts and abs, help you press that bell towards overhead, and then control it back to the rack position, engaging lats and core, tight to the body, through park. Whew. Give that a little shake.
One more exercise as part of that warm up here for single leg hinges. So now with that parallel handle in regards to the foot, hinge on the hip, we could use that other foot as an outrigger, touching the floor throughout, and firmly grip the kettlebell, packing shoulder. Pretend to lift, preload, and then lift that kettlebell all the way up to tall. Repeating again, touching the floor like I am, or amazingly off the floor like Lauren, and then hinge, extend the hip through. Repeat one more down up here as you go down, dead stop, find that core tension to find tall, and return it to the floor. And this time, let's come up barehanded. Move yourself around that kettlebell and repeat on the other side. It's a chip chop on those hips as we hinge, grab on, preload, and hip extension through, finish tall. Follow that with our hinge, return to the floor, dead stop with the kettlebell, full body tension and strength to lift it to tall. Repeat one more time, leg off the floor. Great job, Lauren. I had touched it throughout. It's a little bit easier with the leg touch, slightly harder without. This time the kettlebell will find the floor. Come up barehanded, finish with a little wiggle.
All right, as promised, we're going to get into those get-ups right now. Last day we've been practicing those half get-ups, which we're going to start with today. So when we lie down here, we're going to be doing a half get-up, meaning we'll get to the sweep through, and we'll go back to our backside, starting position. And then the second time through, we're going to perform a full get-up, up and down. That happens on the same side once and then the next. So half and then full. Just follow along. If you're not familiar with the get-up with the kettlebell, let's try it without first. So in our firing range or start position here, we drive to the elbow. Then we find our hand. Next, we'll do our bridge sweep, and we'll just pause here, thinking about our shoulders being stacked, looking at the bell. And then we'll sweep back through, find our elbow, press away to our back. Keep the bell up. One full get up on this side. Hip, drive, pull. Find your hand. Bridge sweep. Press the floor away. Square up to your lunges. Remember that warm up, push forward and back to come up tall. Now it's our step back lunge to come back down. Open, rotate, hinge, sweep, elbow, away to your back. Two hands to pull it down, returning it to the floor, letting it go, and spinning ourselves around to repeat the same thing on the other side.
And now on the other side, it starts with that cuddle, and then the firing range is holding the chest above, the weight above your chest. It's a hip drive, looking at the bell, a tall sit, and a bridge and a sweep. Hold for a second, and then return to the ground, sitting tall, proud on the elbow, core bracing to the floor. Now on the same side, let's repeat those steps, adding on. So through the tall sit, into that windmill sweep, and then press the floor away, square up lunge, finish nice and tall, and then return to the ground through the lunge, open the stance, back to the floor, sweep through, elbow, core brace like a plank to the floor, and there we are, back down on the ground.
Whew, nice. All right, over the last couple of episodes, we've been working on our presses, and that's where we're going from here. So we both have our own bells that are appropriate for us. Last day, I worked up to 5 presses. As long as I feel good in that first set, I will be doing 5 presses for each set as we go here. And I think we'll be working more around that 3 number. So depending on your weight, depending on your body, let's start right now, without further ado, with our first set of presses. Remember, when you press, use your butt, use your abs, use that off arm tension. First side, inhale for liftoff, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Awesome.
Nice.
It's that full body tension Lauren described. And take a little break, shake it off. Get those handles organized just right for you. And then second side, Lauren, count it out.
1, inhale. 2, butts and abs. Pinky side. 3, 4, 1 more. 5. Good. Bell goes down.
And I sure hope the first set was the hardest because that was not easy. But we're gonna take some breaks off of the upper body strength. We'll work on some lower body core strength with control here. Take a leg of your choice, that outside leg would be preferred, and point it to the front. With the leg in front, do that turn out rotation. Kneecap from the hip turns out. Then the turn in rotation from the hip, the leg turns in, hiding the inseam. Repeating again in place, do the turn out, and then the turn in. Then one more turn out, and take that leg to the side. Now as we turn in, keep both hips forward. And as you turn out, both hips forward, namely that leg that you're turning in and out. Avoid rotating. We have a nice core stability and mobile hip out to the side. Let's finish one more on that turn in just like Lauren, and then take a leg all the way towards the back, as tall as we can on the standing leg to return the foot underneath the hip. Now once in reverse, take the leg to the back, then open it from the back to the side and the side to the front, and keep pushing the hips forward to bring that front leg back or to stay underneath the hips when we're done. We'll switch sides and repeat the same thing then on the other leg. So it was a straight leg to the front. If the foot's a little bit angry in the point, feel free to change it into that dorsiflex. But from the hip, no matter what, we're turning out. With straight knees from the hip, let's turn in. Repeat and out, and alternate in repetition, finishing turning it out. Then take the leg to the side. I like the point foot. Then let's turn in, just like Lauren, keeping the hip forward. And as we turn out, we're gonna keep that outside hip facing forward again. We'll turn in, we'll turn out, and breaking the rules of the ballet, we'll finish turning in and then towards the back, underneath the hip again. Now, slight scoop of those hips or that cat posture as Lauren warmed up in the lunges, as we take a leg to the back, open from the back to the side, from the side, return it to the front, and press the hip forward, returning the leg underneath. And from a break off that upper body, some hips, and now it's back to Lauren's cues.
So it's time to press again. In my pressing workouts, I like to alternate which arm I start with. So I'll be starting with, last time I started with my non-dominant arm. So this time I'll start on that dominant side. Over top of your bell, use your hinge, zip, hup, 1, hup, 2, hup, 3, hup, 4, hup, 5. Your number, making sure that your last rep is just as strong and good looking as that first rep. Might be a little grindier, might be a little harder, but try to keep it fresh. Same thing, second side. Inhale to brace and root the feet. Inhale down, squeeze the cheeks. Inhale down, brace the abs. Use the off arm. Now do all those things for the last one. And then place the bell down using your hinge even as you finish up.
3 is definitely that right number for me so far. 5s are definitely looking strong on Lauren. What numbers are you at? If you feel you could do 10, invest in a heavier kettlebell or take your time. Different variables to make it nice and challenging always. Same exercise or at least similar exercises before, but this time with a bent knee. So take that outside leg and pull it up towards you, that mid calf, or can you get the toes to touch the inside of the knee? From here, let's open that leg to the side. We'll do our turn in rotation, keeping the hip level. Then marry those inseams together, touching together. Repeat to the back now as we reach a bent leg to the rear. Then the knee goes to the side and the foot finds itself underneath the hip. Then we'll adductor close the knee to face middle. Repeat that half circle one more time. Open to the side, keep the hip level, then turning in on the hip, touch the leg together. The slight cat scoop of the hips to protect the spine, reach a bent knee back. Ultimately, the knee goes side and then to the front, then finish nice and tall standing on 2 feet. Shake it out. What you do on one, we always like to do on the other. It's the same thing here, little half circle or infinity loop with those hips. So take the knee to the front, the hips stay level as it opens to the side. Now turn in on those hips, marry those inseams back together, and a slight scoop of the hip, and reach a bent knee straight back using your buttocks. and then open the knee to the side, and then ultimately knee to the front. Repeating one last time, it's knee to the side with the hips facing forward. It's an internal rotation, femur on the hip, as to touch those inseams together. Tuck under, cramp the standing leg, and reach the other leg back, and then the knee goes to the side, ultimately to finish to the front, and finish toe ball, and push the hip through to fully extend the hip. Round 2, complete.
Round three of presses. So back to that starting arm here for our third set. It's feeling strong. This is the hump set. So let's get over it. Ready? Set yourself up. Inhale. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Nice.
Whew.
Good presses.
Nice, Lauren.
Take a second off. Shake out that tension. Shake out the legs, shake out the arms, and we'll do the same thing on the other side. Inhale to brace, pick it up. 1, 2, 3, 4. One more. 5. Pulls down. Parks with control. Set 3
Awesome.
done.
I've done 2 exercises that I like to do with the bar. Lauren, do you have any suggestions?
That running leg.
Ooh, sounds good. So with those legs in parallel, take that outside leg and lift it up towards the knee. At that point, straighten the leg out to the front, land toe ball out front, and continue to push your hip all the way through. Now with the knee in position, just like Lauren did originally, that was well done, do the knee bend. Then bring the knee through, flexed on the knee, and then straighten out the leg and land toe ball and continue to push the hip through. One more time. Knee bends underneath the hip. Soften that hamstring. It's not easy, but keep a nice supple hamstring if we can here, and a safely tensed hamstring with the straight leg as you bring the leg back under the hip. 3 reps. 3 reps on one side, and then 3 reps here on the other. So let's start that like Lauren did very well, where the knee stays parallel, but the leg bends at the knee. Then flex the hip, bringing the knee through, straighten the leg out front, nice straight leg, toe ball, push the hip through. When the knees connect, that's a good timing to bend the knee, flex the hip, pulling up on the hip, then we can straighten out the leg, land toe ball, push the hip through, knees connect, time the knee bend, flex the hip, bringing the knee forward, and then one more time, unfurl that leg, land toe ball, and push the hip through to be tall. And I hope that was enough rest for this set number 4.
Set number 4 here, back to that second arm you started with in today's practice. We're keeping those reps. If you need to drop a rep, that's fine, but let's make that decision before we pick up the bell. So whatever reps you're going for, first side. Inhale to pull, and 1, 2, 1 more. 5.
Woo.
Nice.
Nice is right.
That's heavy. 5 by 5 here. A total of 50 reps of presses. Same thing, second side. Here we go. Inhale to up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Bell goes down. We only have to do those sides one more time now. Woo.
5 doesn't sound like so many reps, but when you say like 50 reps, that's a lot of presses in a short amount of time.
That's a lot of presses.
This will be, did I say presses?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I said presses.
Presses. Yeah. You say presses, we say presses. Grab that foam roller, says Lauren. And for one more exercise here at the bar, let's pick up, but this time it's straight legs throughout. Take a straight leg to the front. And for 3 repetitions, we'll lift the leg. And then on the 4th, we're going to hold it. So you have a toe out front, and let's lift the leg up and down, up and down. One more at that cadence, up, down. And then this one, we'll hold it. Up and hold for 3, 2, down. Same leg, open it to the side. 3 reps, up, down, 4th one, hold. Up, down, one more like that, down, and hold. And strengthen that standing leg and point those toes if you can, down and close. Repeating on the other side. Just make sure those kettlebells are out of the way because that would not feel so good if we ended up kicking one. So have the toe point to the front, 3 quick ups. It goes up and down, up and down, up and down, one more, and this time hold. And squeeze your standing butt cheek, land toe. Point out to the side, same effort. It goes up and down, up and down. One more like that. And last one to hold. And could you test yourself without those balance aids? Down and close. That's it for the bar exercises. This is the last time, I believe, on the press, Lauren. And you can cue the finish.
So it's our last set of presses here today. The cues are the same cues they've been for the last 20 presses per side. Keep them going, keep them all together, because this might feel like the hardest set yet. So first side, last time you have to press this bell on this side today. Inhale to brace, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Ooh, nice. Park the bell. Again, shake it out in between, and we'll repeat the same last 5 on the second side. Here we go. Reps 46 to 50. Inhale to brace, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Whew. Nice.
Oh,
Bell can go
right.
down.
Nice.
Last set of presses complete. Do we have one more core or leg to finish up?
Or the get up, whatever you want.
I was thinking about finishing up with a little stretchy leg.
Ooh.
So let's do something a little wild, and let's come on down to the floor here. I want to just rock and roll through those 90-90 sits for a second. So as we're sitting up tall here, we're in our hungry bear. Our arms could gently be on the inside of our legs. Our chest is lifted. Gently pry the elbows, pushing the femurs open. Now stay, but try to take the legs off of the arms. Try to pull those legs even further, and then relax. Let's do that one more time. Pushing out on the legs with the arms. Stay, and now try to pull the legs off the arms. Good. Now, we're going to stay square to the front of the room for this too. If you need your hands behind you, please do. But all we're going to do is rotate as far as we can with our chest and shoulders staying square. So one leg, femurs turning in, one leg's turning open, and we'll repeat on the other side. One turns in, one turns open. Now, let's do it, but let's add our rotation. So I was just looking at our internal and external rotation. Now we'll rotate as far as you can, staying square, and then we'll add that rotation with the torso to follow. Once we're on that side, we'll hold for a second, trying to square ourselves up. Then we'll start lifting the back knee. We'll lift it as high as we can without rotating, then we'll try to start rotation. We'll try to keep the back knee heavy. Well, it was the front, but anyway. Then we'll turn the back leg in and the front leg open. We'll square up over that front leg. Hold this front leg heavy as you start to open the back leg. Then when you can't open it any further, add the rotation. Then lift that front leg, and then hungry bear one last time. This time, let's take our arms and let's push our legs together, pushing our arms apart. For 3, engaging lats. 2, relax, try to pry those legs off. Arms on legs again, legs push in, arms push out for 3, 2, and then easy does it. Without your hands or with your hands, stand up safely to say adieu. Goodbye.
Does that mean goodbye?
I think so.
I hope so. I hope so. So that is this session number 3 of Summertime Strength Kettlebell Edition, live on Tuesdays. And join us for Thursday's bar episode, where we'll hold heavy kettlebells for grip strength and core strength and mobilize those hips with movements very similar to what we explored here at the bar or with that Balance Aid foam roller.
We are here this Saturday for our play with our body weight strength, where we'll roll around and we'll work towards those crawls and handstands. So join us then. Remember, all those videos are in the archives, and make sure you check out our website for our latest blog posts and newsletter subscription, as well as our YouTube channel to like and subscribe. And we are on Patreon. Until next time, take care.
Stay strong.
Let's train soon.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.